Are you struggling to grow your ABA business? Chances are you are making one or all of these 3 mistakes. And these 3 mistakes can be costing you your clients, your time, as well as money. But don't you worry, by the end of this video, you will know how to fix these mistakes and take your business to the next level. So if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while since y'all seen me in the yellow chair, but I am back, and it means that I have some important things to share. And if you are new here, welcome. I would love it if you would stick around, subscribe. And of course, I have my trusty laptop because I have to stay on track. And if y'all have been watching some of my vlogs, y'all know I can be a chatty patty and I can get off track. So this is to help me stay focused. So the first mistake is trying to do it all by yourself. If you are guilty, put a hand up. If you have seen my video on going from a clinician to a CEO, as well as the video about not having to carry it all, I go into great detail on how you can have that mindset shift from thinking that you need to do everything in your business. As mentioned, I am guilty of it, and it is a work in progress for me. And each day, I think I'm getting a little bit better. But this is something that most certainly is costing you client time as well as money in your business. And it is so difficult because as entrepreneurs, and even more specifically ABA entrepreneurs, we are really good at solving problems. We're able to identify the core or the function and the purpose of why something is happening. We have lots of interventions and techniques on how to make changes to those things. So because when we are in the space of leadership or as business owners, we can always identify what the problem is. And sometimes we think that we are the best person to fix that problem or to do that thing, when 9 times out of 10, it's really not within your zone for you to be doing that particular task. I've been only filming for a couple minutes and I'm thirsty already. Lord, I forgot about how much effort the talking head videos are. No wonder why I started vlogging. But here is the problem to being such a great problem solver is you're unable to scale your business, and you're unable to really take a step back and truly get a bird's eye view as it relates to the things that you can fix that are within your zone of genius and your wheelhouse as the leader, CEO, or entrepreneur within your business. And if you're having to question if this is a problem that you have within your business or something that needs to be fixed, ask yourself, are you still doing the clinical task and seeing clients and all of the clinical responsibilities in your business? Or are you doing the administrative tasks, meaning onboarding clients, onboarding staff, sending off paperwork, doing things of that nature? You also want to ask yourself, are you engaging in things that are developing your business, meeting with different community partners, being able to identify what are the new programs or strategies and initiatives that you want to start within your business. If you are doing all of those things at once, then yes, this is a huge mistake that you are making within your business. And this as well has been a huge mistake that I have made through the course of my business ownership, and why I also think at times I was pretty stagnant in business and wasn't able to scale my business. So you may ask yourself, well, Nandy, you're telling us all the problems, you're telling us all the things that we might be doing, so what is the solution? And I am going to preface that the solution can depend upon where you are in your business. Some of the solutions I will give will have a cost associated with it, right? However, you have to also ask yourself, is me using this funds to then allocate to something else allow me to be able to do other tasks that can increase my revenue or increase my brand visibility? So that is something that you will need to do and kind of think about what mindset shifts you also need to make when it comes to your business. However, one of the first solutions is thinking about what are some ways that you can delegate within your business, whether that be looking into a virtual assistant. And if you are going to have a virtual assistant, you need to think about what is that person going to do. It's amazing to have someone to just like put your load on, right? It's like, oh, I don't want to do this, I'm going to delegate it. I don't want to do this, I'm going to delegate it. But not should it only be something that you don't want to do. It should also be something that could be better served by another person, and or something that probably isn't really within the wheelhouse of what your responsibilities are, or quote unquote job description as the leader or CEO or business owner, whatever you call yourself within your business. Another thing that you might be able to start outsourcing in your business is billing. So I know a lot of business owners pride themselves. I was once one of those business owners that would be so prideful to know that I can do my own billing. I was self-taught. I did a little course, and then boom, I was submitting those claims, months behind on submitting those claims, wondering why I wasn't getting money. But I was so happy because I was self-taught and I could do my own billing. But in hindsight, that made no sense. I was able to save money, right? Great. Especially when you aren't necessarily generating a lot of funding or additional money in your business. However, I was always late whenever there were corrections or things that needed to be fixed. I had to take time out of my day to do that. I was sending authorizations, doing all of the things, sending invoices, creating invoices, addressing any billing concerns, all of the things. And it was taking my time and energy away from the ability to grow and to scale my business, because I wanted to just hold on to a couple of dollars and had more of a headache while holding on to that money instead of giving it to someone else who actually was or is an expert in billing in that space. So that might be also something you want to consider outsourcing in your company, or if it is that you're able to hire someone, bringing someone in that can focus on that for your business. I will say, as a business owner, sometimes it might be a little easier to outsource things versus hiring an individual, because as I'm sure you know, if you do have existing employees, there are additional things that you are responsible for, whether it be employee taxes for the employee, whether it be insurances, workman's compensation, things of that nature that are required of you if you have someone that is employed in your organization. So being able to outsource some of the additional cost of an employee is not necessarily something you're responsible for, because 9 times out of 10, those people that you are outsourcing are 1099 employees and not actually W-2 employees that you have within your organization. So that is something to consider if you're in a phase of like, okay, I don't really have a lot of cushion financially where I can really start bringing on these people, but I also need to start to get some of the things off of my plate. Okay, so consider it. And again, I will say this is a work in progress, one step at a time. Think about, after you watch this video in full, what are the mistakes that I am making and what is one small thing I can change? You don't need to go and say, oh, Nandy said these are the 3 mistakes. I need to focus on all these things, because financially it might be overwhelming, or just mentally it might be overwhelming for you. So just make sure that you are taking the information in and creating a plan on what is something that I can do tomorrow, what is something that I can do next week, what is something that I can begin next month that can help me to start to make these changes in my business so that I can grow or scale or sustain my business in the way that I would like. So the next thing you want to consider as well for some type of outsourcing or automation is maybe your scheduling. I know for me, scheduling is a big thing. There's always things happening in the scheduling realm within ABA businesses or even therapy practice businesses. So there might be certain softwares that you can find that can help with the scheduling and automation of that. Also too, helping with automation of onboarding paperwork for both clients as well as staff. Thinking as well of another individual that can be outsourced is your HR individual. We actually recently outsourced someone for our HR department, a company that is local to Jersey that we use that have worked with a lot of therapy-based practices, and it's been really exciting. I've been working with this company thus far for 2 months, and already I'm starting to feel some of the weight lifted off of my shoulders as it relates to being able to delegate these responsibilities or certain things that are the area of expertise for those individuals. And it also feels really great as a business to show that there is growth as well as development as a whole when you're able to redirect someone to say, hey, this is who you reach out to, or hey, this is the department that you would reach out to for specific concerns. Because throughout the journey, just as a side quest, throughout the journey of me as a entrepreneur and business owner, we have had HR related services, but usually what had occurred is those HR services were attached to our payroll company, where the individual or the representative would directly speak to me, and then I would be the one as like a middleman that then would filter out the information or share out the information as needed. So now with the recent change in me outsourcing that particular function of my business, I have been able to identify someone that is that key point, and I don't have to serve as a middleman. I can either serve as a redirector, right? Like you see the people with the little like, go this way at the concert, that way, that way, that way. That's me. Don't come here. No, go there, that way. So that has been great because too, when you're thinking about like HR and things like that, there's so many laws. I don't have the capacity or the interest to be a human resources representative or to know all the laws. I need for you to know all the laws as the individual that I either have hired, right, internally, or the individual that I am in contractual agreement with, to be able to know all the things that should be known and for you to be able to tell me when necessary. So think about it, and that might also be something that you can delegate within your business, as well as something that could also enhance your business as well as your brand as a whole. And ultimately, all that this does is allow you the ability to be able to build relationships not only with your team, but also too with community partners or those change makers within your industry. And it also gives you the opportunity to work on and do the things that not only you are passionate about, but also those things that really can help to make an impact on your business as a whole, and those things that really will move the needle forward in a way that what you have envisioned as the visionary of your organization. The second mistake, I think I should probably just like raise my hand for all the mistakes, because yeah, she is me. She is me. I'll be like, yes. Me. I've made all these mistakes, y'all. And sometimes I still make the mistakes, but you have to learn and you grow and you develop. The second mistake that you might be making in your business is not marketing. And when I say not marketing, you might be just relying solely on word of mouth to obtain your clients or even obtaining staff. And of course, word of mouth is amazing, right? Probably word of mouth holds heavier weight when someone is doing marketing versus just like posting on social or something like that. However, when you are solely relying on word of mouth, you are almost guaranteed leaving revenue, leaving clients, leaving potential staff attraction on the table. And if that is your only strategy, you're leaving the growth of your business or sustainability of your business to chance of another person just deciding if they want to refer you to someone else or, speak highly or negatively of your organization. And you don't want that. Personally, I think that this was something that I had found valuable in my journey and didn't realize that it wasn't as valuable as I thought. I would personally think that because there were providers consistently referring clients to me, parents were referring clients to me, that I thought that there was no need for me to market because I was consistently always getting, literally daily, there will be calls coming in, email inquiries about our services. And then all of a sudden, it was like a desert. There were months where we weren't getting any inquiries, and I thought to myself, well, we're kind of at a good space anyway, as it relates to our staffing, as it relates to our capacity in our space, and we really don't need any other clients. And that was not me thinking strategically and or thinking about the growth and sustainability of my business, because I don't want to say like a pipeline, because we never keep clients on a wait list. Technically, we let them know if they're interested in services, and we're not taking clients on at the time, that we can take their information, and should a spot open up, then we can reach out to see if they have either found a provider or if they're still looking for services. One thing about me, I believe that clients should be able to get services as soon as possible. So even if a family is adamant on joining my organization, I always still tell them, hey, call other places as well, because you never know, and it's important to get therapy as soon as possible. So just wanted to say that. However, there became a time, like I mentioned, where there was no pipeline. There were no clients. And I had stopped doing community events and partnerships and all the things, half because I also was in school and didn't necessarily have the time to do those additional things. But what I realized is once the rose-colored glasses of school came off, I was like, wait a second. We don't have, if each client decided to leave or half of our clients decided to go, where was I going to obtain the next client? Parents aren't referring as consistently, maybe because they don't have nobody else to refer to. The providers, medical professionals weren't referring. The community partners that I had, I didn't stay in touch with, so they weren't referring. So this is something that is definitely a mistake if you are not marketing your business and your services. And for me also to be as savvy as I am with social media, I just stopped posting on my business page. And even till this day. One thing about me, I'm not a hypocrite. I'm not a hypocrite. I'm gonna tell y'all when I'm wrong. And that's why I said some of these things I'm still making mistakes on. But however, currently I am doing a, plan of marketing for social media, because social media is such a huge part of marketing that is also free. And if you all are interested in me doing a video on like marketing and content creation and stuff like that, please comment below and I can most certainly do that, because there are certain ways that you have to communicate to that realm of an audience when you are marketing your services. So definitely let me know if you want me to do that, and I can. However, when you are marketing in general, whether it be on social media or other avenues, you have to make sure that you're positioning yourself as a thought leader. When families are coming or seeking services, they want to know and make sure that their children not only will be in good hands, but also too that their children or their family will be able to have services by someone who has the credentials or the experience specifically in what it is that that family is looking for. So what you might want to consider when you're thinking of marketing, again, outside of like traditional print marketing, ads, things like that, is there anything that you can say that will naturally make someone gravitate towards you? Is there anything that you offer or anything that is special about you or your team or the services that you offer that would make someone want to go with your agency? So for example, if it was me and my practice, I am a business owner that is African American. So that in itself is something that is super special about me. Secondly, I am a doctoral level behavior analyst. That is another thing that is special about me, as well as a clinical social worker that is licensed. In addition, we have a multicultural team as it relates to our workforce. We have people from all different parts of different countries. We have people that speak all different kinds of languages that look different. And that is also something that I have realized is special to us, because a lot of our clientele can be from underserved areas or multicultural areas. So oftentimes they want to see and be serviced by someone who looks like them, or someone that is somewhat in proximity of maybe experience. So that is something that you can think of as well when you're thinking about your marketing. Again, if that is the particular clientele that you are also seeking. So think about that as you're going through what your current marketing strategy is and what it is that your current offerings are, and seeing, is it aligned or is it a mismatch? Because also too, while it might be that some of the providers and medical professionals or community partners or parents might refer people to you, you also want to make sure that they are referring the people and the clients that you actually want. So in order for you to be clear on that, you need to also make sure that you know what it is that you want to communicate in your marketing abilities. The last mistake. Yo, man. This one hurts my heart. Because this was me. This one hurts my heart. Ignoring your numbers. That hurts my heart. If I could cry, I would. Yeah, I would. So, let's get to it. Can't believe this was me. But I will say the big guy pulled me through, because there's no way that for years, I had been ignoring my numbers and was able to see another day. So you might be like me, thinking like, oh, my practice is doing well, right? I'm able to pay the bills, ain't missing a beat. Payroll is being processed and all the things, and not looking at your key performance indicators, which are also known as your KPIs. But without looking at your KPIs, you really don't have an idea about your client retention. You may not even understand your staff utilization and how much services you're actually providing, or how much waste you have within your organization. And also, you probably don't know what revenue you're generating per client, or things that relate to how much you expect to bring in versus how much you're actually bringing in. You are just out here flying free as a bird. You just flapping them wings, flapping, and flying all around with no destination. That's really what it is, and that's what it feels like. Even personally, as I'm out here flying free like a bird, as long as the gust of wind has not pulled me down to the ground, I'm okay. I'ma keep flying. And then what I realized is one of my wings started getting a little bit of extra gust of wind under it, and I thought, hold up, okay, I'm not worried, but something ain't right here. And then the next one started getting a little gust of wind, and I was like, oh, no. And I had to change that mindset surrounding that, because yeah, that's also one of the quickest ways for you to go under pretty fast. And we're not trying to be like Miss Ariel and be under the sea. So as I was sharing earlier, as my mindset and the energy that I had surrounding this was, as long as a check was coming in and as long as the bills were getting paid, then there was nothing that I really had to worry about, until it was those moments where it was like, hold on, something ain't right here, where I really had to want to make a change within myself to do better in that realm. So how to fix this problem? You can create yourself a Excel dashboard. I actually will link a resource below. So if it is that you don't have something existing, then you can use this, and that might be able to help you in your company. So when you have a dashboard or something where you can track your information and keep it, sometimes I know, like for example, I use Central Reach as a platform. So they have a dashboard that we elect into financially in order to get some of that information. So you may have an existing dashboard to look over your KPIs, your insights and stuff like that, or you can create one with Excel. You might use QuickBooks. If you're a business owner, you probably do have QuickBooks. I hope you do have QuickBooks. If you don't, come on now. But anywho, those might be some dashboards that you can use as well to get some type of information on your business. And these might be some things that you can track weekly. So I'm going to tell you what those things can be. One thing that you should know is how many therapy hours are you providing, whether it be daily, weekly, ideally is weekly, or even monthly. It's always helpful to know how many you either had anticipated on providing versus how many you actually provide. And I say this because when I coach individuals, sometimes if they're early within their business or in the planning phases of creating a business, they will project out how much revenue they anticipate making. And they have a specific number based upon a guaranteed number of hours or a guaranteed attendance of a client or the guaranteed attendance of the staff, because we know how it go with call outs. But anywho, so oftentimes that's not realistic, right? We would all love to predict and project what we will get off of a 100% compliance, 100% utilization, but that's often not the case. Even outside of client attendance or staff attendance, just holidays or closures or hours or illnesses, things like that. So those are always things that you want to consider as a whole, and you want to check up on that, because this will let you know what do you need to do as a business owner and what pivots do you need to make to determine how much revenue you will be receiving when you're looking at your numbers. You also want to understand what is your customer lifetime value. So sometimes, depending upon the population that you service, it might be, for example, like we service younger children. So there's a natural transitional point for some of our clients when they do go into school, or there might be a transitional point when the client comes out of early intervention, or if it is that a client is going to school, if they are transitioning into a lower level service of care, different things like that. So you want to know overall, what is your client lifetime value? That will be your CLV. And also too, what is the average amount of revenue that you would anticipate obtaining, or you project to obtain, based upon this client, based upon their lifetime value, with some of those variables in place. Again, you're not going to be able to account for every variable, but say for example, if you're servicing a 4-year-old, that they might have to enter into kindergarten at 5 or 6 years of age. So maybe your lifetime value of a client maybe be 1 to 2 years. So you can play around with some of that information based upon that particular client and be able to project out when you need to maybe make some changes in your business, when you need to begin to start marketing to obtain more clients and or obtaining more staff. So that is why this is important to have some sort of dashboard or spreadsheet. It doesn't have to be anything super sophisticated, but something that you can keep a pulse on what is happening in your organization. You also want to think about how much are you profiting, if anything, because sometimes when we're making those projections and we're like 20% profit, 500% profit, 9 million billion zillion. And again, I wish I could have 9 million trillion billion zillion, or even 10 billion zillion billion trillion quillion million. I got a joke, like I'm here talking to myself, before I talk to y'all. So really great. However, you need to make sure that you are aware on if we're providing this level of service, and if I have in my mind, say for example, that this is the amount of profit that I want to obtain in my business, then you need to look at your utilization. You need to look at your lifetime client value. You need to look at your average revenue of each client. You need to also think about how much is your contracts for with the insurance company to determine how much you can profit per dollar per service hour. So these are all the things that you want to keep in mind when you're thinking about your numbers. And there can be many other things that we can track, both financially, administrative, as well as clinically when it comes to KPIs. But these can be some things just to get you started on thinking about your business in different ways and how you can customize it to best serve you as well as the needs of your organization. Because let me tell you, these are some of the things that when we're thinking about wearing all of the hats in our business and starting to delegate, these are some of the things that you need to kind of zone your mind in on. And I'm telling this to you because this was something that I had difficulty with, is I had my brain focused on doing all the things in my business, where some of the things that I'm talking to you about now within the KPI portion of a mistake is I wasn't focused on the right things. I was focused on all the other things, but not really the things that can help to get my business to the next level or that can help to really move it in the right direction. So when you are able to have this information as well, then that can make you feel more comfortable with being able to delegate and to spend money in other places because you know where your money is coming from. Does that make sense? If it makes sense, give me a thumbs up in the comments or give me a like on this video. Do that, actually. Like this video if that makes sense. And as behavior analysts, we know that data gives you all the information that you need, and data is so powerful. Data will allow us to increase our knowledge and allow us to have a little bit more visibility into our business. So I want you to think about what mistakes you have been making in your ABA business. And you might be watching this and you may not even be an ABA. And honestly, I probably need to change some of my language because these practices can help any business owner. However, I want you to think about what mistakes have you made, whether it be these 3 that I mentioned today, or whether it be mistakes that I have not mentioned on this video. And if you have made mistakes that I didn't mention in the video, let me know below. We are a community here and I am trying to foster a community of supportive individuals. So there might be things that I have feedback on or someone else might have feedback on or tips on. So be sure to leave the mistakes that you have made in the comment section and we can learn from each other. And I don't ever want you to forget that we all started somewhere. Even as a semi-seasoned business owner, I've been almost in business for 8 years. I am still making some of these mistakes. I am still making other mistakes. I am still learning. But what is important is the small steps that you are taking today will help to build your business in the future, will help to build your legacy in the future, and will also help to scale your business to be whatever it is that you are seeking, and also sustaining your business, because we all came into this space because of a specific passion or a specific why and a specific purpose. So whatever that is for you, making sure that you keep that in mind as you take that step daily to make sure that your business is ultimately what you want it to be. So as always, thank you all so much for watching. Check out the next video because as always, come on, gems. Gems on gems on gems. Gems on gems on gems. Gems on gems on gems. And if you're new here, please subscribe. I would love for you to stick around and just join the fam, join the community. And if you are already a part of the fam and the community, thank you. I appreciate you. Like I was saying, I know it's been a while since I've done a sit down video. So if y'all want to also see more of these videos, please drop it in the comments. I'm trying to switch it up a bit, but also to give y'all what I know y'all love. So I will catch you in the next video. Bye for now.